A second stimulus package could get passed with major changes, including the repealing of payroll tax, new PPP, and the best news of ever, sending Mitch McConnell back to Kentucky. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is LALATE. Hope you're good and safe. This is a second stimulus check and stimulus package update with more news about what stimulus package will be coming to you later in the coming weeks. This is LALATE. This is one of 3 stimulus package updates we have today. Earlier today, we delivered shocking details, really great news coming from the White House, coming from President Trump himself, saying that a second stimulus package would be very generous, suggesting that it might be it might be several checks, and certainly at least $2,000. Later today, we're going to be answering your questions about PUA and UI on our third second stimulus check video. But let's get right to this one, which has a lot of details. There are several new components of a second stimulus check that are really heating up. 1, repealing payroll. 2nd, adding PPP. 3rd, sending Mitch McConnell home and getting him out of office. 4th, new jobs. And finally, questions about whether consumer confidence will rise because of great comments. Really great news from Pete Navarro just minutes ago before this recording. All right, so let's get right to the news. A lot of details here. So first of all, there is new proposals to extend PPP or do a second round of PPP. As you know, this channel caters to every viewer, whether you are unemployed or employed, whether you're a W-2 or not, a 1099. So we cover every single subject. And one of the subjects that has been of discussion is whether PPP should be extended or another one introduced. And just days ago, Ben Cardin, who's a Democrat out of Maryland, along with Janine Shannon, who's a Democrat out of New Hampshire, suggested that they would extend PPP into as long as December or next year. And this would only be for businesses that are extremely small, 100 employees or less. Quote, many small businesses will continue to struggle in the weeks and months to come. Congress must once again act urgently to support our most vulnerable small businesses through this crisis, so our economy can recover as quickly and as soon as possible after the pandemic. This is very good if you are an employee and not a business owner. Why? Because a lot of business owners, when they're reopening now and they're using this PPP money to get you back to work, the money's not cutting it. And you know why? Because, for example, if you're a restaurant and if your employer is a restaurant, you're a bus server, a lot of restaurants aren't getting a lot of business. They're not getting a lot of foot traffic. And there's concern that they're going to still close even after receiving PPP money. So a lot of you are actually employed or furloughed by businesses that got PPP money that didn't work enough for those businesses. So they want to give additional money to those businesses, which ultimately gets into your hands. Remember, I know when you think PPP, you think, oh, it's all big business money. That's not going to meet. Absolutely not. The PPP calculation is based upon the salary, the payroll of the employees, even before furloughed. So if you worked at a company before and were a W-2 and haven't been brought back, it's that type of money to bring you back and give you your February salaries once again. Okay, here's the other great news this is probably the news that I really like, and you know what I'm about to say, is that Mitch McConnell may be out the door. What's interesting about this is that the second stimulus check and stimulus package debate has really gone off the rails sometimes because of one person, Mitch McConnell. When the HEROES Act landed in the Senate from the House, it was a $3 trillion proposal to extend the CARES Act, which is a $2 trillion bill. Mitch McConnell's response is, I don't even want to see this. I'm not passing it. I don't have any economic data. I'm not going to help American citizens. Well, you know what, Mitch? Go home. And that's exactly where he may be going. There are new people, Marine veteran Amy McGrath and Representative Charles Booker, who are leading the field to get Mitch McConnell out from Kentucky. There's new indication that Mitch McConnell is in deep trouble about not being reelected. Now, this channel is not political, as you know. The problems that we are facing with the second stimulus check are both Republicans and Democrats, but the single most adamant person against second stimulus packages is Mitch McConnell. The White House doesn't even agree with him. The White House wants to give you $2 trillion, which is between Mitch McConnell $1 trillion and the HEROES Act, the Democrats at $3 trillion. The $2 trillion that the White House wants to give you is exactly what the CARES Act gave you, but actually more. Because in the CARES Act, only 10 to 12% of the CARES Act money went to you, the U.S. citizen. The White House doesn't want to put all this extra big business crap in a new stimulus package. That means that of $2 trillion, you would see more. The viewers of this channel, whether you're employed or unemployed, whether you are disabled or not disabled, whether you're on Social Security or not on Social Security, whether you're whether you are a 1099 or not, whether you own a business or not, the White House wants you to see more money because they think that drives consumer sentiment and that gets the economy going. Jobs. This is also, it's not good news, but it signals great news for getting a second stimulus package approved. There's new economic data out of Europe that suggests what they call blanket job retention schemes or zombie jobs. They're very concerned now in Europe that as lockdowns were lifted and people went back to work, that those aren't really long-term jobs, that these are very short-term jobs with a finite period of time, sort of what I just talked about with PPP. You go back for a few weeks, the employer says, hey, I can't cut it, I'm laying you off again. And they're concerned now in Europe that 9 million workers, or 20% of those currently enrolled, are in short-term schemes that face unemployment nearly in the next few weeks. With that type of data, and that data is not different in the United States, there's more suggestion that a second stimulus package needs to be approved. Why? Stephen Mnuchin says unemployment is his guiding factor in giving you a second stimulus package. He understands, Stephen Mnuchin, as an economist, as does Larry Kudlow, the White House's chief economic advisor, that you need to deal with unemployment. And you can't assume that someone goes back for a few hours here and there now in the month of June, that's employment. It's not. It's temporary. It's like zombie employment. You just do it for a few days and it may move numbers, but it doesn't. It's going to fall apart if you don't support it long term. So that's also really interesting. Finally, Pete Navarro. If you don't know who Pete Navarro is, he's also a member of the Trump's economic team. He deals with trade. Why trade is important is the following: trade puts jobs in the hands of American citizens. The trade imbalances of the Trump administration has been a core of their campaign. And as you know, the China-Trump deal was phase one, was approved, and we were waiting on the next phases when the pandemic hit. Yesterday, Pete Navarro, who's in charge of trade for the White House, said during an interview that it's over, that trade phase one deal with China is over. The stock market didn't like that. Americans didn't like that. That suggested a real bad trouble for the U.S. economy. Pete Navarro, minutes before this recording, walked those comments back and said, I misspoke, you misunderstood me. Absolutely not. He said that actually that's not the case. And President Donald Trump actually tweeted overnight the China trade deal is fully intact. Hopefully they'll continue to live up to the terms of the agreement. Why is this important? Because ultimately this is putting money in your pocket. This is putting jobs in your economy and giving you opportunity to get employed. The China trade deal was great because it actually required China to buy U.S. products, required China to do certain things that stimulates our economy. And when you heard Pete Navarro say on Monday, it's over, that is scary, because that basically says, hey, all these jobs that the viewers of this channel are waiting to go back to that are impacted by trade could be gone. That is no longer the case. So let's get to some of your 68 questions from yesterday's video. Cloud cleaning. No one wants to stay home and use their Social Security money. They need to understand that, members of Congress. Absolutely. Mitch McConnell does not understand that. Of anyone in the congressional bodies that are dealing with second stimulus check debates, it's Mitch McConnell who has absolutely no mindset. His mindset is one, I don't know if you're struggling, Americans. I don't have any economic data, Americans. I'm going to give you one stimulus package in July and don't ever come back to me again. He actually said that. I mean, he actually said that. How can an elected official in the middle of a pandemic, the pandemic's not over, in the middle of the pandemic says, hey, I'm going to give you one stimulus package in July, never ever come back to me again. You know what? Never ever come back to Congress, Mitch McConnell. The reason why is because as a pandemic continues, more people getting COVID-19. What does that mean? As more people get COVID-19, they become unemployed. You can't work if you have COVID-19. You need stimulus. You need stimulus checks. You need federal relief. For Mitch McConnell is, you don't need anything. Just wing it. Awful. Really, really awful, Mitch. Susan, I've never received anything. Nothing. I do have a huge tax bill. So, Susan, we do have a link in our description tab, usually in these stimulus videos, that shows you where you can track your first stimulus check. There's a couple thousand people who have not gotten it. It's a tracker put out by the IRS. If it's not there, also Google it. Bob Gabriel, I think you should blast your theme song into Mitch McConnell's ears to get him out of this house. John Sorrell, LA question on the Portman plan. I'm self-employed. If I had the possibility to go back to work, how would the $450 be paid to the self-employed through the unemployment state program, since you're getting the unemployment paid through them already? Thanks. Great question. Yesterday we detailed two plans, the Portman plan and the Brady plan. They're both Republicans. The Portman plan says that I want Americans to be able to be paid even if they go back to work. Why? Because he understands that some of you are going back to work, but you're not given enough hours by your employer, or you're going back to work in an independent contractor like John, and you just don't have enough business. And so, John, yes, if you go back to work under the Portman plan, John, and you are self-employed, you would get $450, but it wouldn't come from the states. It would come, well, it's not quite clear who would send it to you, but it would be paid by the federal government. The states may actually send it to you, but it would be paid by the federal government for every week that you're impacted by COVID-19. Now, let me explain the Portman versus Bradley plan. The Portman plan is $450 every week that you go back to work, whether you're an employee or an independent contractor. The Bradley plan, which I don't like, is only one check, $1,200, or two checks of $600, and that's it. After that, you're supposed to wing it, according to Mr. Bradley. I don't like the Bradley plan for that reason. Now, would that be on top of PUA and UI? No. This is for people. This is for people who are employed. Now, people who are unemployed, Portman freely believes, and so does Steve Mnuchin in the White House, everyone else, that you're going to get something as well. So don't believe or don't think that Portman's out there only helping people employed. The rest of the discussion is helping people who are unemployed as well. Pano, strategic timing for the election. I don't think it's going to work, Pano. I think everyone's seen right through this crap that people are trying to give you a stimulus package the day before they go to the polls. I don't think it's going to work. The voting booth. T.S. Kadisha, unemployed since March, not a penny of UI. What state are you, Kadisha? And drop in the PUA videos, I'll help you. Barbara, you're wonderful, LA. Well, thank you so much. We love you. Well, thank you, Barbara. Thank you for your kind words. Deloy, watching from Arkansas. Hey, Arkansas. Jeannie, I have been disabled since I was 12 years old. But I want to thank you for all the information you give for people on disability or SSI and SDI. Yes, these stimulus packages that I detail the stimulus checks go to everyone. So a lot of people always ask me, what if I'm on SSI? Or Social Security? Or I'm disabled, do I get the stimulus checks? Yes. The things you may not get are things for business owners or things for going back to work if you are unable to work because you're disabled. But stimulus checks absolutely go to you. And if you don't recall, in the first set of stimulus checks, the White House and the Treasury said that their priority is to get the stimulus checks first to people who are on Social Security, because they are the older parts of our American economy that need the checks more than anyone else. And so that's how they routed it. Now, I freely admit, of the viewers of this channel, a lot of people who are older got the checks last, did not get them first. I don't know why that happened, and there's been no real good news reporting explaining why that happened. Bo B, tired of waiting. Very well said. Patricia, hey, it's Patricia from Brownwood, Texas. When would I get my stimulus money and my husband? As yesterday's video detailed, you would see discussions of it starting around July 20th, 25th, 26th. You would see the check approved no later than August 8th. Why? Because that's when members of Congress go on another vacation. I can't believe I'm even saying that. But yeah, that's when they go on another vacation. So how fast is thereafter? It depends. I mean, it's not going to be, it would be at least 30 days. So yes, I'm always saying August to people, but it could be a little bit longer. Mary, when are we going to receive this month and day? We're not going to hear the exact dates until it's approved. Pamela, thank you. We appreciate it. Well, thank you so much. You do hard work for us. Thank you. Alan, I'm not sure if we will be receiving another check. The country is going to open up and people are going to back to work. Chuka Chima, excellent job. Thank you for time. Well, thank you, Chuka Chima. Derek, how long will the Portman plan last for? Really up. Everyone loves the Portman plan. I do too, provided that you have a plan for unemployed people as well. People ask if Portman's retroactive. People ask if Portman continues into 2021. The news releases of Portman when he talked about his own plan was yes for everything. Now, let's see what happens when people start cutting apart the bill. Kathleen, what's going on with going to happen with the stimulus checks because people are losing their homes and jobs? What I'm detailing every day. Raymond, my daughter did not get one penny of the $600 per week. She did Uber and Lyft and was turned down for unemployment in North Carolina because she's PUA. She's not unemployment, she's PUA. Watch our PUA video. I'll explain it to you. Ken, I love your style. Well, thank you, Ken. Very nice. Storms, Cloud Clean, thank you for your info. Well, very, very kind. What about SSI, Marla? Everyone would get a second stimulus check. Absolutely. Dino, I've received 5 checks totaling $5,700, but I should have received $7,800 checks. Very well said. If you've not watched our PUA and UI videos, if you go through it right, you do it correctly, and the state doesn't screw you over, 10 weeks of benefits at $750 a week is about $7,500. That is why the federal government really wants to alleviate that burden upon states and give the money to the citizens from the federal government, not from the states. It's quite interesting. If you have questions about today's second stimulus check video, drop them in the comments below. This is the second of 3 stimulus check videos coming up later, our PUA and UI video. As always, save LA for more.